Hello everybody, this is LodenMF with another Rust base design. Today's base design is going to be for clans. The one I have right here is for a medium-sized clan, but you can always build it higher or lower depending on your clan size. Right now our loot room's on the 3rd floor for a medium-sized clan, but say you're a large clan and you want to build it 6 high, go ahead, I would bump up your loot room a few floors though. So let's get into the build though. First we agreed with 2 doors like regular in a triangle foundation thing, but then we have 2 stacked like this, and that gets us inside to the hexagon. Then we agreed with 2 armored doors and a sheet metal ceiling. That way if the raider doesn't want to go through the doors and decide to pick up, they're going to take quite a while because sheet metal is a lot harder to break into stone, and if they get into here they can get maybe 3 people picking at once, which will still take quite a long time. So if they try to go through the doors, the right one leads to a wall, and so does the left one. This one, however, leads to the way you get onto your base, so there's a ladder and a door. This way is pretty safe because it's not as safe as the double jumping technique, but they still have to lose one buddy because this ladder is going to get blown up. If they do, however, want to try to find your tool cupboard, and they go through their front door, it's going to take them 1, 2, 3, 4 walls, then another one, so 5, 6, 7 whole walls just to find your tool cupboard if they go through the front. If they go through the back, however, right here, it'll only take them 1, 2, 3, 4, but they'd have to guess that correctly, and if they haven't seen this video they won't, and if they have, you can always move your tool cupboard to the honeycombing to wherever just to trick the raider. You can always have an as an external one to completely like screw their mind up, which I do sometimes. But anyways, going into the base, let's go up a few floors. So we use the ladder and we go up. On the 2nd floor we have nothing. I would not place any furnaces on the first few floors, because if we have a furnace here and the raiders pick through this floor right here, I had loot there. If they pick through the floor and they jump onto this furnace, they can then use this to boost up to the next floor right here, and they're already at your loot. They blow this too. But other than that, if they only had 3 people, they wouldn't be able to boost up anymore if this furnace was not here. So just keep that in mind when you're building a base. I would not recommend any furnaces on the first few floors. So going up onto the 3rd floor, we now have where our loot is for the medium-sized clan. So right here we have a few loot boxes. I like to do it with small boxes like this. You can have as many rooms as you want for loot. So going up one more floor, this is the 4th floor. We do not have much. You can actually add whatever you want here, but I would not keep that many valuable resources. You could always add furnaces because there's nothing really important on top anymore since we just passed our loot. So now we're going to go to the sniping spots. So through these doors we are at the sniping tower. As you can see, we have a nice 360 view of the outside. For any people trying to raid our base from afar, we can see them. And also we have these nice peek holes with these doors. Raiders aren't going to be able to buddy jump up in here because we're on the 4th floor. That's also why I don't recommend on a solo player, because if we're on the 3rd floor, they might be able to boost in. But how you stop that is if you have ladder hatches, add a lock. Because a lot of people don't add a lock, and if they're down there with their buddies, they can jump on top of each other's head, and then they'll just press E onto the thing, and they'll be able to get it. It's really hard on this 4th floor, but if it's on the 3rd floor, just right here, like that, that's not that hard to ladder hatch up to. So always add locks. As you can see, I had some double doors here, because if it wasn't here, and they did go from the side out here, they could use a rocket and blow these 2 walls up at once. Actually these full 4, which would defeat the purpose of this double honeycombing. So I like to have these walls doors open, that way they can't rocket through it. They could try to rocket through there, but it's a really tight squeeze. And yeah, I use these ladder hatches because they're really nice for a 360 view. Got a nice front door view right there, and if they're trying to run, you can just pull this door open, shoot them, and if they go far enough, you can go through here, because they're not expecting it. But that's the base so far. remember you can always build it high if you want to. I built this extra part because if they do try a raid tower, you want to be sure that they don't get to your loot faster from the top than the bottom. So you could always even add more walls on the side here like this, but I think the raiders aren't going to be able to raid tower in, because when I'm actually playing, I will put external tool cupboards around my base, which will make it harder for them. You can also add another tool cupboard on the 3rd floor. You can hide it in the honeycomb even, but the only problem with this is you would have to kill the first one on your main floor, and if you boxed it in like this, it's a little bit harder. You could always keep your first floor more open and do this when you hit your 3rd floor. You could put a tool cupboard on your 3rd floor and then put down the first one and then box it in. It's up to you though, but we're gonna get into base design now, and let's go. Okay guys, so the first thing you want to do to start building this base is look at your terrain and make sure you can build pretty far out left and right. So put your foundation as high or low as you want. I recommend at least a medium height, so that way at the beginning of the wipe cycle, raiders can't boost in. So this height is a decent height. It's a little bit below head height, but that'll be good enough. If the terrain slopes really down hard and it's the only one you can find and you're in a rush, just build your base a little bit lower. So the starting thing we're going to do is a hexagon, but we can't build in it yet. We can't set up a base already because we're going to have to destroy half of it to make this double stacking work. So just like regular double stacking, we're going to go out and do like 3 moons. We're going to go out on these 2 right here. The rest do not matter. You do not have to upgrade it when you're actually doing it. This is just for visuals for you guys to see. So through the front or back, you go like this. Go 3 of these like half moons out, whatever you call it, like this, that far, and then you destroy what you just built except for this last one. So do that now. And then you build back using regular foundations. Once you get here, we don't want a regular foundation, we want us a triangle facing out. So what we have to do is destroy these 3 foundations. So this one, and then this one. We then build on top of it and destroy the other foundation behind it, and then add a triangle. We can then upgrade this one to stone or sheet metal. I assume you only have stone at the beginning of wipe though, so stone. After that, we rebuild this half, and we can upgrade the stone right away or later, but this one, these 4 pieces are good to go now. Of course, we can also destroy this because we no longer need it. Next thing you want to do is the exact same thing on the other side. So let's do that. Okay, once you're done that stacking, this is what you should have. 1 triangle at the front, 1 at the back, and then your hexagon. You can get rid of all these thatched ones. And now we can start our build. So since it'll be just after a wipe, you probably only want to build inside this hexagon to start, but you can do whatever you want really. I'm going to show it as if we were actually just after a wipe though. So add a door and then wall it off like this and upgrade everything to stone. Just to do that, it'll only cost 5k stone and of course a door and a door lock to make sure your base is safe. Just like that. Oops. Sweet. And then of course you would add your tool cupboard. I'd recommend you putting it into this far back one, the one we built off of. Like that, and now your base is safe. It's high enough raiders will have a pretty hard time jumping into without help, excluding this extra little piece right here. They could use this to boost over. So I would recommend you, if you are going to do this, either add another door onto these back ones or build walls on the back and the front like this. It's up to you, but upgrade it of course too. I would actually add a door onto this one. You only need to do one side. Like this, door, door lock. Wall it off. like this. Sweet. Now we're done that. The only problem is there is a gap, so people can shoot you through while you're doing that. So just be careful of that in the early game. But for the back one, you can simply wall this whole thing off because we do not use it. If you can, try to go too high, because that way they can't boost onto the low ledge of the other piece. And make sure your walls are facing out. Upgrade this one as well. How you do it without no clip would be to add a little foundation right here and use stairs. But I'm gonna use no clip because it's faster for video purpose. So after that, we are going to be doing the triangles now. So off this extra piece with the spacing, we want to go out like this, go around the base, make sure the gap is kept, and then do the same thing on the back until we meet halfway right here. And once we do, instead of putting a triangle and having a gap, we add a regular stone foundation. As you can see, I cannot place it, so we actually have to place that before this triangle. So right there, and then we can add the triangle. So make sure to square before the triangle. Do the same thing on the other side. So like this. Go out like that. Do the same thing on the back. Oops. Go until there's the gap, and then destroy them. Add the square one, and then add the triangle. Just like that, and you're all set. So we're down 3k off of these little extra parts, but upgrading this should only take 2k stone. So now we're going to start honeycombing it, and it's just like any other honeycombing. We just simply go around and add the walls. What you can do before this honeycombing process actually would be to add a roof to your place. So you do have to leave one open. It's your choice which one, but we're going to have a ladder for one. So what you could do is add a door, upgrade it, and then wall this piece off. So if they do raid tower in, you would have at least a door here. So you'd have a door like that. And if you are getting raided, you could always just airlock this piece. So when they drop down, they get stuck. So without no clip, of course, just use one ladder to get up, and later you can destroy it and make 2 ladders to make it harder. Try to make the doors face this way actually, because it's a lot harder. And upgrade this to sheet metal if you can. If not, you can do it later. I'm gonna make this all out of stone actually, so I can keep track of how much stone we are using. So now onto the walls. Okay, to build the perimeter of this honeycombing, it will only cost you 8k stone, which isn't that much to think about because it does add another 3 layers of protection to get into your hexagon. So the next part would be to add walls. So let's do that. Okay guys, so once you're done that honeycombing, it will cost you roughly 13k stone right here. And the only thing you have to do for that honeycombing that matters is make sure these walls, the one right against your hexagon, are facing out like this. That's the only thing that really matters. Other than that, let's keep on building the base. So far this is what it looks like. This was what your base should look like. As you can see, anyway you go through, it is 4 walls to get inside. Just like that, 4 whole walls. Which is quite a bit for a little small base, pretty compact base like this. So what I would do next is probably make your roof. This way if they do raid in, they won't see that this is all just honeycombing. So let's go make this. So the roof will only cost you 1.5k stone to do, which isn't much. And then the next thing we want to do is probably do whatever else you want to do inside, because your base is pretty dang secure right now. So what I would do first is either box off your tool cupboard, or if you don't want to do that and you want to have 2 tool cupboards, then make this onto your 3rd floor, box this one all in, which will cost you 1.5k stone again, and make 1 tool cupboard here. put it on the third floor here like this. Or if you do want to be tricky, instead of having it inside here like this, you could add it to one of the spots of the honeycombing. The only problem with this is it might start decaying. So how you avoid that would be, if you do think it might decay, is you would leave one of these triangle doors of foundation ceilings. You put one of these foundation ceilings and make sure there's no wall in between. So for one of them you have a sleeping bag, and the other one you would have a tool cupboard. But before that you would have to simply remove the other one, of course. Boop, like that. So you'd have your sleeping bag, have your tool cupboard. You would place your tool cupboard and have it like this. This isn't as safe as having it inside, because if they do rocket raid, they could find your tool cupboard. So it's your choice where you want to put it, but make sure if you do this, make sure you can fit a wooden box in here as well, right here like that. So you would simply box this in like regular, and no one would be the wiser unless they do rocket raid you. You would skip the wall between here though, so there is an advantage, as in if they do go from the bottom and try to build up, they'll get stopped part way and won't be able to build up higher, and they might not be able to find the tool cupboard because they won't be in the middle. So your choice if you want to put it outside. If you do, just make sure you do this quickly, because people can build at the bottom right now. They aren't building blocks, so they could build a tool cupboard and screw you over. So if you're going to do this, do it fast. So I'll just box it in and we'll build another one at the bottom. In the same spot, like that. So that costs you another few K stone. And of course you want to box this in with the triangles. So now they don't know where the tool cupboard is. And we're gonna make sure this bottom one is secure in case they do try to raid us right now. So simply box it in, because it is now safe. We no longer have to destroy it because we have 2. That costs you 1K stone to do. Okay, now we're going to start adding in the doors and honeycombing the inside. Since you would be doing this at a starter wipe, you probably will have a furnace and box laid down here. Just remember that when we do add our loot onto the 3rd floor, destroy this furnace because they can use it to boost onto the 2nd floor like this. Also, when you have the resources, please upgrade these floors to sheet metal because it's a lot harder to pick through. So, also one other thing, this ladder should be the 2nd one over, not the 3rd one, because we're using the 3rd one as our 1st floor entry and the 2nd one as our 2nd floor entry up here. So just keep that in mind. We put it as the 3rd one here because if they go through the front door, it's a lot of doors. It's a good 2 extra doors to get through instead of 1. So we're expecting raiders to go through the front door. So let's add the doors and add roofs. Try to make it a sheet metal if you can, but if you can't, make it into stone. That will cost you roughly 1K stone, and instead of having one ladder going all the way up, we want to separate them actually. So actually leave this one little extra part open and add a ladder here, like this. If you place this ladder low enough that the raiders can see it's going up, destroy it and put it a little bit higher so it's only on the 2nd and 3rd floor. So you should have it like that, and then you can add a floor right here covering up. So now we need to make it so it's harder to get onto the 2nd floor, so they're not just blowing through these doors and being able to go all the way up like this with ease. So how we do that is add in a door, and we'll end this off like this. You can leave it pretty empty for now. You can always add boxes and stuff, but just make sure you don't add any furnaces, or else they can boost up. So I would also add another door here just to trick them to think there might be some more stuff over here. It's your choice though. But going on to the 3rd floor, it's pretty open right now. You can add a roof if you want to. Just make sure you have one for the ladder. You decide where your ladder goes. It's up to you. I usually actually put it just one after another, so it's easier access to just go through. You don't have to open so many doors. And yeah. So let's work on the 3rd floor. On the 3rd floor you probably want your loot, so this ladder is not needed anymore. And I always like to have a door after, if someone does raid from the top, you want to make sure you have a door here. So just in case they don't know which way to go and they go through this one, they won't find your loot right away, so I would add 2 doors before this ladder. It's your choice though, really up to you. So the safest spot for your loot is actually right here, because if you do put it onto this one, below it is this ladder. So if they do try to rocket up and they do blow up this wall, they can see your loot. So the safest one is right here, a little half circle around, right here, which is the opposite one of the second store entrance. So just keep that in mind when you're storing your loot. You can use as many of these as you want for loot. Just make sure that you know where to put your loot. So the safest one is right here. These two are not as safe, but these two would be safer than this one, because if they do come for the 4th floor and open this door, then they can already see this loot. So there's 2 ways to put your loot. You can add a large box and then use a small one behind it, but if you use this technique, you have to do it before you add the floors. So since that's not as realistic, unless you do build the little small base, I'd recommend you to just use small boxes. So you can fit 2 in, like that, and then 1 at the back. It doesn't stick through if you do it correctly. And I would add doors in between each of them. Add the doors at the end actually, so it's not as hard to place your boxes. And just do that for each of them. Okay, so once you're done adding all the boxes, you do have a decent amount of storage because this is quite a few boxes. But if you want more, you can always add it to second or 4th floor. This will just be your main loot that you need to protect. So please add box doors in between them all, because if they do get into one, you want to make it harder for them to get into each other one. So going on to the other part of the 3rd floor, you want to add a roof, of course, sheet metal if you can, but if not, just do stone. Costs you not that much, just upgrade that, it's really nothing. But please make sure you, whenever you add one more floor, you always add another doorway. This makes it so if they do raid from the top, it's a lot harder. Of course you add a door lock too, but for the purpose of the video I'm not going to. So like this, now your loot is pretty safe unless they do raid tower to the 2nd floor ceiling, so 3rd floor right now. So if they do get here to the 3rd floor, they would be able to get to your loot. So we're just gonna honeycomb like regular. So just keep that in mind. If you're building your base higher, it'll cost you roughly 13k for the honeycombing each time, and probably another 2k for this. So 15k each extra story you want to go. For a large clan, that's not that much, but if you're a smaller size clan, I would recommend you to only go 4 floors up, which will cost you roughly, right now 50k, probably 60k to 70k after you add the sniping towers. So we're going to do that now, because this is practically done for a small or medium sized clan. Our entrance is right here. So you decide where you want to put your wall. I like to put my entrances on this one right here. So like this, at the front, at the back. I don't like it being crooked like this because I actually can't walk through. So I'd have to use double doors if I did that. I would like to make it simple and use the front or the back pieces like we did before and have doors there. So this one does lead to a ladder. I actually like to have my door at the back here. This will lead to your sniping tower, so try to add it at the back or away from the ladder wherever you place it if you can. You could always be tricky and add a door right here just to trick them, but if they do blow through the door and don't find anything, they might just blow through the wall because it's easier, and that will lead them to a ladder. So you might not want to do that to trick them. You might just want to keep it like a wall, like every other walls that would be here. So for the sniper spot, first thing you want to do is just do the inner hexagon like this. Cost you a few k. And now we do the outer side. So if you are getting sniped often, I would actually do the perimeter first before we honeycomb this. But if you're not and you just want to fortify your base, go ahead and do the inside first. Just depends on how late in the day you are building this and if you think you're going to get raided. So if you're in the night, I would fortify it more instead of being prepared for an online raid, because usually people will offline raid you if you're asleep. So nighttime, fortify it like this. Online, I would do the sniping portion. So add the doors, 2 doors, server's lagging, damn. There we go. So now, no matter which way they go, other than here, it will be 2 walls. Okay, so to fix this gap, you want to add a door. Depends on which way your door is facing. Just make sure when you add the door, it faces in towards the wall like this. So for this side, it's on the triangle, but for the other side, it would be onto this square piece. This one blocks off a lot better, but either way, I would recommend you to add a wall frame to protect it. This one, you don't have to as much, because if you add a code lock, this door will protect it from a rocket raid destroying those 2 walls. But for this side, there is a gap still, so I would recommend you add a double door here to make sure that no rockets are going to fit through there. So do that to fortify it for the night, and do it for this side. This one's not as mandatory though. And if you add it, you can keep them both locked up. So now you got that fortified for the night. And say you wake up in the morning and you want to do the sniping portion. I would also recommend you to simply floor this off before the night ends, of course. Okay, so now to the sniping portion of the base. Our front door is right there, but we want to add a floor frame on the other side of it. So right here, upgrade this to stone, and simply add a ladder hatch facing the base like this. So we have a nice view of everything going out along here, and we can spray down anyone near our door. Just like that. Next we want to go off this square towards this side. I don't know how, not the back side, the front side basically. We upgrade this one as well, add a ladder hatch. What you want to do with these ladder hatches is add a code lock, because people can buddy jump in, grab this, open it, and everyone can jump in from the group, except for a few people who are boosting. But that'll make it a lot easier for them to raid to the top and not have to raid tower, so please add code locks to this. So next thing you want to do is do the same thing on the other side. So like this side, just follow this line, get this square foundation one again, add a door frame at the back, facing the back now. This is probably the hardest part of the base, figuring this one out. Just make sure you follow through what I'm doing. And then we go to this side, right here. This one right here, how we tell is it's the one with the door, the one facing the back, so we can see the back side. This one's a little tricky actually. Just think it is the opposite of this side. When you think about it, it's the opposite of that side, so the base is parallel. So this is what it should look like. You should have full view of the whole base around like this, and make sure each of them have code locks. This will give your base full view. You are very open right now though, but just make sure they can see all around your base. There's one thing you have to add. As you can see, you cannot see this corner unless you go peek out the side. So how we do this is we add one extra floor triangle so we can see this corner right here. As you can see, we have this full front view. If you open this, you can see down there. And back here, we have this whole left view, but we have nothing here, so we also add a floor triangle. So from a top view, from the front door, this is what it should look like. So I have no ladder hatches open, but it should look like this. Now going on to the doors and everything. Since we are on the 4th floor, you can add doors, it should be safe. If you are a smaller clan and only went 3 floors up, I would recommend windows so the raiders can't jump in, your choice. But all you do is add doors all the way around. So that will only cost you a little bit over 3k stone to make. And I would recommend you put some wooden doors onto here. You could also, instead of having doors on these sides here, you could also have windows. It's up to you though. Really depends on what your preference is. This gives a lot more view, but you can always fall through. We don't actually need the doors here because we do have a really nice view from here, and we can also open the doors. You could also have doors on the outside here instead. So your choice how you laid the sniping tower out. Doors are more open, but you can get shot a lot easier than these doors, especially if you have these metal protectors. It's a lot harder for the people to shoot you. have it on the right side if you can, not like I just placed there, like this. So you could switch from here, shooting them, they run out farther, instead of opening this door and getting shot from a bolty over there, say, they had like a buddy helping, you could go around here, have protection, the guy could miss, you could shoot him and his buddy. So up to you what you want to do. This is a lot more angles if they are hugging your base though. So just keep that in mind. If you do use doors, I would also recommend you to add some at least wooden doors so it protects you a little bit more during a fight. But next thing you want to do is add some roofs, and we're basically done our base. Okay, so once you're done adding those roofs, it'll probably cost you 2k stone. The last step we want to do is making sure that the upstairs is safe. So how you would get up there without a ladder hatch is probably add another floor here and add a staircase as well. It's a little tricky actually. If you do it right, you got it. Just like that. So what you can do is always keep on building higher. Just make sure one of these are open if you're going to. And I would recommend, if you don't, just to do one more story just in case people do raid tower in. They're not going to go very far. This makes it so it is safer. And since if they do raid tower in, you don't have to add any walls into this portion here, because if they're going from the top, they're going to be going straight down, so there's no point in adding walls. Just make sure this is sheet metal so it's harder if they do want to pick. But why we add this part is because if they go down here, it's going to be 2 walls. So if they go from the top, you have to make it so it's 2 floors just to make it even basically. So either 2 floors to go all the way from the top, or 1 wall and 1 floor, which is the same amount of C4. So this whole base design is a little bit less than 70k stone, but it'll probably be a little bit more if you add external tool cupboards, which I highly recommend you doing, because it makes raiders a lot harder to get into your base. But as you can see, this is way too high to buddy jump into, as long as you have these ladder hatches closed, because on a slope like this, they might be able to buddy jump onto that. So this is finished base design. Please add doors onto these if you are going to use doors instead of windows. But if you liked the video, please drop a like, comment, and subscription, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks! Peace! Hey guys, LodenMF here. If you enjoyed that base design and would like to see another, please click on the top. Also, if you would like to see a base design with a secret loot room and tool cupboard for clans, click on the left clip. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks! Peace!